canceled, field trip. What kind of reaction did you have to that? Did you cry?
No.
What were you feeling, Jaden?
I wasn't that sad that it's too late.
You weren't that sad?
Oh. And
you stayed in the green zone?
And I'm not crying that it's gonna be a long.
No, because would crying match that problem? No.
So social emotional learning here at the Bates is more than a talking point. It is a content area. It has its own dedicated time. In the primary grades, an hour a day. In the upper grades, an hour a week, where we really give kids skills to navigate these tricky social situations. We use a curriculum called social thinking because the reality is every student could benefit from understanding, is my problem big or is my problem small? And then having the means to recognize that and react appropriately.
So social emotional learning does go hand in hand with the curriculum. So there is a built-in block, which we call the school culture social emotional learning block, every week, which is 45 minutes. But you know and I know that 45 minutes once a week in an elementary school is not enough to reinforce what you're trying to do. So you can see it in a math lesson, you can see it in a social studies or writing or an ELA lesson. Even when you're seeing it outside during PE or at art or science, you're seeing this common language used.
For some folks, it's very scary to dedicate so much time to that type of work, but I would argue the amount of academic time we save because we are able to resolve these issues so efficiently with students really makes up for that time.
As we were getting professional development, the same phrases kept coming up. Expected versus unexpected, size of the problem, what zone of proximity are you in? And then we as teachers found ourselves, as we're having discussions, we're even using this language, this common language. As we started to buy in as teachers to the social emotional learning, it became much easier for us to try and implement it in the classroom. If you give students an opportunity to express themselves without feeling vulnerable, which is what you're doing when you have this common language, more often than not as a teacher, you're at an advantage when you're dealing with behavior and when you're dealing with classroom management, because you're starting to understand the needs of that student better when they can explicitly communicate what those needs are.
They do teach them how to think about their feelings, and I think that's a great thing, especially for a 5-year-old who thinks if his water spills, life is over. You know, there's times now where I say, hey, is that a big or a little problem? He's like, oh, it's a little problem. And I'm like, that's great, because that's what they do at school. And again, it's a matter of mimicking what he does at school so it follows in the same routine when he's at home.
We've really seen children take ownership over some of the concepts and language that we've been using to help them with their social emotional development. We're seeing kindergartners talk about problems that are small and big, and in fact today they had a canceled field trip, a very unexpected problem, and no one had big reactions to it, even though no one would blame them for crying. Having that language, it really gives everyone a solid foundation to deal with any issues that come up.
We use size of the problem. It's like if the problem is big, medium, or not that big of a deal. If it's not that big of a deal, then you could handle it yourself.
If somebody took your eraser, that's like a 1 or a 2. And if someone like wanders off, that's like 4 or 5.
And if they're fighting with someone, you could say what's going on, and they can answer you, and then you could help them. We help each other out.